Hello everyone, and welcome to the final KwikLink build in public video. This took 18.91 hours. It was built using Wizard's Toolkit, a low-code development platform that uses PHP, SQL, and JavaScript. Let's jump into it. Today I'm going to show you the final version of KwikLink, and you can also get this for yourself. There is a free tier. You can make these, which look really good, both on computers and on phones. That's how it looks on a phone. You can add as many website links as you want, as well as social media. Let's get into it. Today I'm going to go over how long each item took, and I'm going to show you the final features that were added and how they were built. Here are the tasks. It took 18.91 hours. This is a breakdown of what took how long. The database design, 0.79 hours. 90% of the database I just reused with Wizard's Toolkit, which only took 7.5 minutes to download and install on Docker. The whole database is already provided. Then you just customize the database tables for the particular project you're working on. The home dashboard took 2.43 hours. Here's all the stats. I use Wizard's AJAX for time tracking. This was also written in Wizard's Toolkit and has a lot of really cool features. I created this report which gives you charts and graphs so you can see the user web pages. If you mouse over it, it was 66.6% of the time was spent on that, or 2/3. You can look at the area chart, you can look at the pie chart. If you want to, and everything has mouse over or hover features that gives you the numbers, and if you click on something it will actually remove it, so you get a better idea of if we exclude the thing that took the longest, what took the second longest. Obviously home dashboard, which is this page right here, the home dashboard. One of the final features that I added was the detail report on visitors. So every time a visitor visits your KwikLink card, whenever somebody comes to this card, it will track what IP address they came from. Like this person came from this IP address, which you see is around Virginia. And this person who did a search on Google to find my card, that's interesting, they came from Arizona, probably sitting in a Starbucks. I created a sample card for Brandy Blaze. Didn't give her a lot of links. She was the IntelliMuse, which is a AI avatar that was written also using Wizard's Toolkit. And the reason I like this instead of just using ChatGPT is I can easily filter and find my particular past conversations and then say, oh, here's the one that I did. I had a conversation with Brandy about building public, and here's our conversation. And basically I gave her the YouTube write-up and asked her to make me a nice blurb for me to publish on social media, and a short one to go on, well, here's the first one, and then a shorter one for Blue Sky and Twitter. There you go. Very useful using AI for marketing assistance, and then sometimes I use Freddy for doing things that are more interesting, like tech stuff. I had Freddy help me get touch events to work so that drag and drop functionality worked with phones in addition to working on the web when you're just using a simple drag and drop. And that was regarding this right here. This functionality was already working where I could drag and drop things here, but it wasn't working on the phone, and I had to ask Freddy to, well, I prefer to ask Freddy to help me with that, and he helped me work out the details. By the way, IntelliMuse, also you can have a free account on that. There's a free tier, and I find it very useful for both programming assistance and for marketing assistance, as well as couple other areas of expertise that you'll find with the IntelliMuses. Alright, let me show you the cool SQL that I used to generate this. That was done in the MyStats file. And here's a cool little trick you can use. Here's the single select statement that did it all, and you can see that I'm not using subqueries for each of these values. Instead, what I'm doing is a single select on the visitors table by the key quick user UID, which of course is indexed, and we have the count for the total views, and then sum, and using an if statement within the sum to determine whether it's going to sum a 1 on things like views last 7 days. This is a very fast way to have a single SQL query pull in a huge amount of data to show very nicely. So here's the rest of the code. And of course, you can download all this code from the GitHub for KwikLink. You can see that all of the custom pages on KwikLink, there's not that many. This is it. Okay, the index is just the home page, and the card. Now this is the most important page because that's what generates this, and you can see up here it has Alex Sherman as the title, and up here it has Brandy Blaze as the title, and that's because it is actually doing that here, and it's also using OGs for the open graphics, which is what Twitter uses, and LinkedIn and Facebook, and almost all social media, they use that. Notice how small and tight this is. Very quick to download. I've been using it whenever I do business meetups, and it's impressed everybody. They like it. It's similar to Linktree, and the QR code functionality allows people to just scan it in on their phone, and that takes them directly to your page, your card, I should say. Alright, let me show you the detailed report. This was built using the visitor list. Again, it's just a select statement, and then it has a target blank going to DNS checker, IP location, and passes in the IP address. Very easy. And you have header sorts put in like this, and which is Toolkit, and then this is the magic line that builds the entire page or the entire list box based on the SQL that you pass. So I can say let's sort by domain, there's the domains, let's sort by visit, there's the visits. Okay, so here's the custom URL page. And in technical terms, they often call this a slug when it is at the end without passing a parameter like ID equals 5. If you just have it like that, then it's called a slug sometimes. I made it so that, of course, if you try to put in a name that's already been used, like Brandy's, it will tell you no, it's already been used, and did that using a little AJAX. And if you put in a new name, it will give it to you for free for 60 days. And then after that, I'll have the website email saying it's a one-time $5 fee to be able to keep your slug for life. And the sales methodology there is simple. If you give somebody something for free for 60 days and then they give it out to several people and one of those people might end up hiring them, of course they're not going to want to lose their custom URL, and then they're likely to pay the $5. If you say, hey, it's free for 5 days, it's not likely that they're going to give it away to anybody. The custom URL code is simply in here. I put everything in the login folder, and here's where it is checking to see if they already have a slug, and that's how it pre-populates it. Here's the HTML. And I left the verify slug JavaScript function in here. Usually I put that in an external JS file, but for ease of everybody else to be able to find it easily, I just left it in this particular file. and here it passes the API key and the slug and checks to see if that already exists. And of course, in here it's doing a select count, and it's checking to see if the slug exists and not for the current user. That way, if the person puts in one that they've already assigned to themselves, it doesn't say it's not available because you have it. And again, it's using the SQL filters to prevent SQL injection problems. I have htaccess. Now, on my local environment, when I'm using Docker, here's my Docker environment. It's Nginx, so I have to disable this so it doesn't screw up my Nginx, which is why I have the 234 at the end. Usually that's not there. When you upload it to the website, of course, you don't do that. And here is the magic regarding the write condition, or regarding the rewrite condition. So it ignores the special folders, but otherwise it does a redirect, except for the index page. We make that not redirect, but everything else redirects, passing it like this. And then down here you just tell it to cache things so that it loads faster. And then in the card, I'm checking to see if there's anything in the query string. And if it's dashboard, then I set a security level so that it shows up and it's reusing the card logic here. And if it's not dashboard, then no login is required. Here's it's calling the Wizards Toolkit function library. And then it is pulling this information in. And here you see it saying slug, which is a technical term for when you pass things like /alec, that's considered a slug, or /brandy is considered a slug. And you can see that the htaccess is passing the alec as card.php !slug equals. And so in the card, it says if there's a slug passed, then it changes it to be where KwikLink slug equals slug. And then it's doing the get row. And by the way, see the SQL filter aspect? The SQL filter aspect puts it into an array, and instead of just putting slug equals whatever the person put in, you do it this way and that way by having the SQL filter or the parameters passed as an array using PDO, which is PHP data object. It prevents SQL injections. Otherwise, people could put in alec semicolon drop database, and it might drop the database. But by doing it with the SQL filter and PDO, passing it in as an array, that automatically prevents SQL injection attacks. So then here it's pulling in all the SQL values, putting it into parameters. And now here's part of the cool part. Here we go, the OG URL. Just because it was easy, I have the card.php add in OG title, Twitter, and OG meta tags. Because why not? It's super easy to do. Might as well put it in there, and it kind of has some nice effects. So if you want, you can go to programminglabs.com/launcher.php, another one of my websites, and there is KwikLinks to open up good social media things for posting and validating, such as on Blue Sky. If you go to quicklinkme.brandy, this is how it will look, which is kind of nice. And unfortunately, the Twitter validator no longer works, thanks Elon Musk. And this is how it looks on LinkedIn, or how it will look if you posted it on LinkedIn. and this is how it would look if you posted it on Facebook. Facebook's validator is kind of buggy. Sometimes you have to click it a few times or tell it to scrape again, or actually start to post it on Facebook and then remove it, and then it will show up here. But at least this way you get to see, and you see it's got Brandy Blaze, and there's a marketing guru. It's pulling the marketing guru from here because that's her title. And it's kind of cool. And if you wanted, you can even try it on email, and it looks really nice on email too. Now usually I change it back to convert to plain link, but it's kind of cool that it does that automatically. Alright, now let's look in the back office really quick. KwikLink.me/admin. Log in. And I didn't do any of this coding at all. This all came with Wizard's Toolkit. It tracks your revenue. It tracks your DevOps if there's been any errors or emails. There hasn't, not today. How many times reports have been viewed. Tells you how many people have signed up. And it includes things of tracking like e-commerce providers, email templates. So here I could change the welcome pin or the welcome to KwikLinks. Here's where you set up the widgets and the menus and the pages and the lookups. And this is all provided de facto with Wizard's Toolkit, including checking user logs, user history, etc. You have a whole DevOps and marketing tracking comes with Wizard's Toolkit. So, in summary, it was only 18.9 hours to make KwikLinks build in public. It took over 26 hours to do the videos, plus the amount of time I spent on this video, which I will put here when I'm done with the video. And if you want Wizard's Abacus for time tracking your stuff, you can log in and get that as well. That is $5 per user per month, and it's great. It includes things like invoicing, payroll, in case you have multiple staff working for you, and of course project tracking and lots of reports. If you have any questions, put them in the comments, and below in the comments I will have the links to the GitHub, the Docker Hub, and links to A2 hosting, Abacus, or anything else that I mentioned during this video. Have a great day. Subscribe for more on the business of programming.